Dinolords is a very interesting RTS that mixes the castle building of Stronghold, the combat of Age of Empires, and armoured dinosaurs of Dino D-Day, and in doing so successfully found itself on my Steam wishlist as soon as I saw it. I'm a dinosaur fan if nothing else, so combining them with one of my favourite strategy games in Stronghold is a great recipe for me. The visuals look fantastic, the physics look awesome, and overall I'm just super excited for this. It's at the top of this video for a reason. No date on this one yet, but Dinolords is planning a Steam Early Access release sometime soon. Ephemeris is a space RTS taking inspiration from Homeworld, while also featuring turn-based empire management, a ship designer, a randomly generated tech tree, which sounds interesting, and more. It's being created by a solo developer, which is darn impressive as this looks pretty good, both in terms of visuals and gameplay. No release date yet, but it should hopefully be coming sometime in 2025. In fact, there's an Indiegogo campaign going on for the game right now, with a couple of weeks left to go, so if you're interested, go check it out. There's a link in the description. Age of Respair is another new RTS that is taking more than a few cues from Stronghold. It's being developed by a team of 2 industry veterans, plus the help of some freelancers, and if I do say so myself, is looking pretty lovely. Stronghold may finally have some proper competition on its hands. I'll be keeping a very close eye on this one, because I am pretty excited, and I'll be aiming to cover it properly here on the channel once it's out. Hopefully sometime in 2025. Rogue Command is, as the name suggests, a real-time strategy game with a roguelike twist. It features classic RTS gameplay like base building and resource gathering, but introduces a card system and different modifiers that can change the way you play. This one's out pretty soon actually, and it might even be available once this video is live. Once it's out in early access, it's aiming for a full release around the latter half of 2025. There is also a demo available for this one too, if you're interested. Empire Eternal is a recently announced RTS that is positioned as a spiritual successor to Empire Earth, an RTS series from the 2000s that did fluctuate in quality, but is generally positively regarded. Microprose is publishing this one, so there is likely a bit of budget behind this, and people seem pretty excited about the fact that it even exists. Probably because Empire Earth is a mostly forgotten series that doesn't get the attention like other series of the time do, like Age of Empires and Command & Conquer. No information about a date for this one, and since it was just announced, I'd imagine it's not coming anytime soon. Sanctuary Shattered Sun is the much hyped spiritual successor to Supreme Commander that I have featured more than once here on the channel. More and more information has been coming out about the game over the last couple of years, and there's even a playable build available for the highest reward tiers of their Patreon. There's been talk of a Kickstarter for quite a while now, but it's still yet to materialise. The developers have been pretty open about the fact that they're not going to launch it until it's ready and there's a great playable demo that's ready to go. So, while I feel like I've been saying this for years now, hopefully that'll be live soon. Era 1 is an upcoming space RTS that releases in just a few weeks. It combines a few different elements like real-time combat, base building, and sandbox survival to create something that I reckon looks pretty damn good. I'm particularly excited for the ship and structure customization, which seems very in-depth, with potentially limitless options. Let me know if you'd like to see me cover this one when it releases at the start of December. Broken Arrow is a large-scale RTS that I've had my eye on for a while now, mainly because of its obvious inspiration from one of my favourite strategy games ever, World in Conflict. The visuals look amazing, the unit models are incredibly detailed, and the refusal to go full Wargame Red Dragon and focus more on the real-time action are things that I'm a big fan of. Broken Arrow has had quite a few betas, demos, and tech tests over the past couple of years, and it's been pushed back more than once too. The finish line is in sight though, and hopefully we'll have this one in our hands to play sometime in early 2025. Falling Frontier is another game that immediately caught my eye upon seeing it, because damn, just look at it. One of my favourite planned features is the customization to be found in the ship designs, where you'll be able to tailor an array of vessels to suit your needs by swapping out weapons and components. Falling Frontier has been out there for a while now, and I feel like I've been hearing about it for years without any concrete release date. And while we still don't have that, it's planned to be released sometime in 2025. Hopefully it can stick to it. This video is sponsored by War Thunder, the most comprehensive vehicle combat game out there, available free to play on everything from PC to console to mobile. Pilot over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters and ships, running the gauntlet of ancient war machines of the early 20th century to the precision-built mechanical masterpieces of today. You can even modern the legendary Bob Semple tank, New Zealand's contribution to the armoured warfare of World War II. Yes, that is a tractor. War Thunder has one of the most comprehensive damage models out there, with every vehicle being modelled down to individual components like engines, weapons and crew. This means you don't have simple hit points. You can keep trucking along if critical components haven't been taken out of action. There's also an excellent X-ray visualization that shows exactly where your shots went and what damage it did. One thing I especially love about War Thunder, besides the Wikipedia level of vehicles available, is that there's a bunch of different modes that you can play depending on how you're feeling. There's Arcade, which simplifies the physics system and gets you right into the action, Simulator, which is about what you'd expect, and Realistic, which lands somewhere in the middle. You can even play without extra control gear. Your mouse and keyboard or controller will do just fine, though a full-on HOTAS setup will certainly take things to the next level. Immerse yourself in War Thunder today and get alongside a global community of over 70 million players, where meticulously detailed vehicles and authentic graphics and sound put you in the driver's seat of some of history's most questionably designed planes and vehicles ever made. You can get War Thunder for free, and if you sign up using my link in the description or pinned comment, or are a returning player who hasn't logged in the last 6 months, you'll get an exclusive vehicle decorator, 100k of silver lions, and a week of premium account access for PC or console. This is available for a limited time only, so get in there if you're interested. Thanks again to War Thunder for sponsoring this video and supporting the channel. Another game we've been hearing about forever is Tempest Rising. This was announced back in August of 2022, and since then there's been some playable demos, closed betas, trailers, and more than a couple of delays. Most recently it was pushed back to sometime in 2024, and with 2025 getting closer and closer at a blistering pace, it looks like that'll get shifted as well. I'm guessing mid-2025, but we'll have to wait and see. If you haven't heard about this one, then it's essentially the closest thing to Command & Conquer that we're going to get nowadays, and that certainly wears its influence on its sleeves. I'm pretty optimistic, having played a couple of the demos myself, and the developers seem intent on letting it cook until it's properly ready. I'll absolutely be reviewing this on launch, so subscribe to see that when the time comes. Red Chaos is another classically styled RTS giving pretty strong CNC vibes. This is certainly more of an indie game than Tempest Rising, but still, it looks pretty nice, and there's no reason why multiple of these kinds of games can't coexist peacefully. No release date for this one yet. I'm predicting it might hit early access first, as these kind of indie games often do, but we'll just have to wait and see. Ratten Reich is a company of heroes styled strategy game set in a dieselpunk world where forces of rats, mice, cockroaches and lizards battle it out in an ongoing conflict. I've mentioned this game a few times in previous videos, and as of now it's actually available in early access, so you can play it if you're interested. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to have landed quite as we might have hoped for, but hopefully the devs can sort the growing pains out and deliver something great when version 1.0 hits, sometime in 2025. Dustfront RTS, yes, that's the actual name, is a super cool looking project that features classic real-time strategy with an infusion of grand strategy and an incredibly unique art style. I'm looking forward to playing this one whenever a demo or early access release is available, mostly because I just love the insane visuals. Like, just look at this, man, it speaks for itself. No release date or anything for this one as of yet. DORF Real-Time Strategic Conflict, again, yes that is the real name, is another Command & Conquer inspired RTS, but this draws its lineage back to the style of Red Alert 2 and Tiberian Sun, rather than Generals or CNC3. There's no release date for it just yet, but when it does launch, DORF promises 3 unique factions, base building, and intense combat across land, air and sea, with a variety of super swish looking units. If you like the look of this one as much as I do, they're taking support on their Patreon page as they continue development. Industrial Annihilation is the new game from the people behind Planetary Annihilation, with some of the team even going back as far as Total Annihilation. This was initially planned to be out in early access early this year, but it was then pushed to sometime in 2024, and with 2025 fast approaching, I'm guessing that's going to be pushed to next year. It's planning on being a mix of classic RTS and construction games like Factorio, though it's yet to be seen how much it leans in either direction. I'm not super keen on this game for a variety of reasons, and you can learn more about that in this video here. Regardless, I can understand why some people might be excited for it, so if that's you, you can follow it on Steam and hear about the initial release when it comes out. Beyond All Reason is at the other end of the spectrum of Total Annihilation successes compared to Industrial Annihilation, because A, it's free, and B, you can play it right now. I've gushed about Bar more than once, so I'll keep this quick. If you're interested, I'd simply recommend you go and watch either one of these videos that cover it. They're still pretty accurate, and they go into much more depth than I can in a video like this. The TLDR is that Bar is fantastic, it's a ton of fun, and you can download it and play for free right now. So why aren't you? ZeroSpace is a fancy looking cinematic RTS that promises an epic sci-fi story with unique choices and endings inspired by narrative RPGs like Mass Effect. Damn, that's some big claims. ZeroSpace looks like it's drawing some strong inspiration from Starcraft 2 in terms of its visuals and gameplay style, and we'll certainly see if it can entrench itself as much as that game has over the past decade or so. No release date for this one as of right now, but there are some playtests happening later this month, including an open demo for anyone on the 22nd to 24th of November 2024. There are also some options to get into an alpha right now by supporting the game on their backer kit page. Global Conflagration is another swish-looking strategy game drawing inspiration from Command & Conquer Generals. It's been able to be played once or twice through the Steam Next Fest, and it's coming soon to early access. Visually it looks pretty darn good, so I'm keen to see how this develops across its early access period once it's live. Another game published by Microprose is Battlefall State of Conflict. It's a more lo-fi styled game, but it still has quite a unique art style and promises some interesting mechanics in its upgrade system, and a lot of content thanks to Steam Workshop integration, a map editor, and a multitude of game modes including co-op campaigns. This one you can actually play right now through a free demo, and it's planning an early access release sometime soon. Eyes of War is a hybrid RTS and action game where you can switch between each mode for different styles of gameplay. In the strategy mode, you build your castle and train your armies, and in the character mode, as they call it, you can control units from a third-person perspective to get into the action. A few games have tried this style of hybrid game in the past, most notably Natural Selection and the more recent Celica. So I'm interested to see how this one goes, and props to any developer looking to take on the challenge of merging these together. Eyes of War is out in early access now, and it's planning a release into 1.0 within the next year or so. I'm wrapping up all of the Age games into one thing here, as there will be lots of DLC and expansions for all of them in 2025. Age of Empires 4 has a confirmed expansion in the works, which I'm probably most excited for, and Age of Mythology has stuff in development too. Age of Empires 2 Definitive just had its first Chronicles DLC, which has landed pretty well, so it's almost a certainty that more of these will be on the way next year. As for new games in the Age series, I'm honestly not sure what could be next. The entire pre-existing series has been remastered now, so I guess it's Age of Empires 5, Age of Mythology 2, I really don't know. Age of Empires is doing well though, so I'm sure something is cooking over at World's Edge that we'll find out about sometime in the future. We don't know much about the next proper Stronghold game, apart from the fact that it's being made in the Unreal Engine, and that it's somewhere over the horizon. If you recall, Firefly released Stronghold Definitive Edition earlier this year, and it went really well for them, so I'm sure that's given them some food for thought about potentially remastering other classics, Crusader, or even returning to the 2D art style that people still love. Either way, I'm excited to see what Firefly have in store for us, whether it's a remaster, an entirely new game, or something in between. Creeper World IXE is the newest game in the Creeper World franchise, which is a thing apparently. Hey, just because I've never heard of it doesn't mean it's not popular. It looks kind of cool, honestly, fighting the Creeper, which is like this alien fluid mass thing, with a bunch of spaceships wrapped in this cozy 2D voxel style aesthetic. There's a demo available now, and it's planned to release in full this year. Since the Solar Empire 2 is, of course, already out, I reviewed it and spoke highly of its addicting gameplay and modernized mechanics over Rebellion, but what I'm including here are its big DLC plans for the next year or two, as they are significant, especially if you're a Sins fan. One is a campaign, a Sins game, crazy right? And the other is the elusive fourth faction, which has been teased for as long as the series has existed. I'll be covering both of these in depth when they release, so subscribe if you want to see those videos as they release. Total War Star Wars is a game that is alleged to be in existence, but nothing has been confirmed on it just yet. But based on the fact that we know that 2 Star Wars strategy games are in development right now, and one of them is rumoured to be more of an XCOM style tactics game, I'd say it's quite likely that this rumour is true, and that we'll probably hear about it in 2025, maybe 2026. Whenever it is, I'll keep you updated. Arcane Wilds is a fantasy RTS launching into early access around the time this video goes live. It may be even up right now. If not, there's a demo you can try while you wait. It pitches itself as a mix between RTS and survival games, featuring unique resource management, a co-op survival mode, and traditional RTS combat. It looks interesting, so check it out if it's up your alley. Warcraft 1 and 2 Remastered were originally on this list from the leaks that came before the 30th anniversary of Warcraft event, but I'm not sure people expected that both games would be available immediately upon their announcement. I'm including them here in this list regardless, just in case you didn't hear. If you're interested, they're available as part of the updated Warcraft battle chest. ICBM Escalation is a grand-scale RTS focused on worldwide combat in a Cold War and near-future setting. I used to love playing DEFCON back in the day, and while this is similar, it's a lot more in depth, featuring both conventional and nuclear warfare, with tons of different weapons, diplomatic options, mod support, and both multiplayer and single-player game modes. This is another game releasing very soon, going live on the 22nd of November. Exodus Black Sun is interesting in the fact that there's just really no information about it at all, except for a Steam page with a few screenshots and an exceptionally long text write-up. And there is also a website and YouTube channel as well, so maybe you can dig around this one and find out more information if it seems interesting to you. Front Edge also doesn't have a lot of information about it just yet, but it seems to be channeling a bit of World in Conflict by the way of tactical modern combat and reinforcing using accumulated points throughout a game. The Steam page lists a planned release date of Q1 of 2025, but with so little info, I wouldn't be surprised to see it delayed basically until any time. But hey, it looks cool, so we'll see how it goes. Battle Aces may not seem like your traditional RTS, and while that may be true, it is an RTS all the same. It definitely doesn't look like my cup of tea with its focus on 1v1 and 2v2 PvP battles, but I'll admit I love whenever a game incorporates deck building elements, and in this case that's as a way to strategize your unit composition and game plan. So maybe it'll surprise me. Battle Aces has no set release date, but it has had a beta going on since the start of this month, so my guess is that it's not too far off. Immortal Gates of Pyre is a game people have been talking about for a while now, and we're closer than ever to a full release, as there is a new open playtest happening next week, indicating 1.0 surely can't be too far away, right? Anyway, Gates of Pyre is pitched as a competitive RTS with easy to learn but hard to master gameplay, with no shortage of customization options and game modes to entice any kind of RTS player, me included, thanks to challenging PvE missions. Whatever that entails, I'm certainly interested. Hopefully there's some co-op in there too. GODSWORN is a game I actually reviewed when it launched into early access earlier this year, and I wanted to give it a shout out here because, hey, it's pretty darn good, and it should be hitting 1.0 sometime in 2025. Date TBD. Watch my full video if you want to know more, and hey, I'd recommend you do, because I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's a pretty good game. Alright, that's all I've got for today. I hope you were able to find at least one game that caught your eye, and you are keen to play. If you want to support any of these games that aren't released yet, then a Steam wishlist helps a ton, and it's completely free to do. And of course some of them have Patreons and Indiegogos and such, so if you really want to support it, then I'm sure they would appreciate you heading over there. If there's a game that I forgot that you're excited for, please leave it in the comments and I'll look it up. And once again, thanks to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Don't forget that you can get the game for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox or mobile. And if you're a new player who signs up using my link in the description or pinned comment, or you're a returning player who hasn't logged in the last 6 months, you'll get an exclusive vehicle decorator, 100k of those silver lions, and a week of premium account access for PC or console. Again, that's available for a limited time only, so get in there if you're interested. Big thanks again to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Thanks so much for watching. If you'd like to support me and what I do here, then you can do so via Patreon or YouTube memberships. You'll join the absolute goats Dakayo, Bad Ghosts, Sean Weber, Grey Spirit 4, George Rain, King Thickums, Pavel, Bram, Christian, Dan, Ryan, and Disrufkin, and my paladins Johnny, Marika, Age of Cause, which is a game in development right now, so check that out if you're interested, Tank, and Empyrean. So thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.